religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis John.
And I am Priscilla Mah-Belloh. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome to a new day on Focus on Liberia. So, at a new day, we are driven by a relentless passion for creating positive change and building a more inclusive and just society. We aim here at a new day to advocate for marginalized or underrepresented communities, particularly emphasizing gender diversity. Some ways we develop and implement our program are based on multiple goals. We develop educational programs and then we provide resources. We also are leveraging the media because we are media practitioners. So we leverage social media. We encourage community. We engage in we encourage community engagement. So we do community engagement like what we're doing now. Platforming and change makers and thought leaders from our community and also beyond. We advocate for policy change. This is what we do, advocating for policy change and societal shift in our mindset and attitude. And guess what? We have a change maker today. We have a leader in the community today. He's going to be introducing himself. This is a prominent Liberian leader. I am opportune to be in the same organization with him, a professional organization. It's referred to as the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas. If you're just joining us for the first time, I'm talking about the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, which our guest today will introduce himself, which our guest is a member of, and I am also. So yeah, I'm excited to have him. He's also an author. He's a change maker. I am going to let him do it himself because I don't think I can fairly represent him or introduce him. So, Dr. Rez, great to have you on. Please introduce yourself.
Well, I am Pastor Red, or people call me Alexander Red. That's my full name. I'm an author. I'm a pastor of the Gracious Hope Bible Fellowship and also the local church, which is the Christian Restoration Church. And I love writing. My hobby is writing, having quiet time, meditating, reflecting, spending more time in the Word of God, the Bible, and also providing guidance counseling for those who need it, both on the traumatic level, on the social level, on the emotional level, and even academic level, which of course is my area of specialty. And so I'm so glad to be here. I'm a Liberian. And I live in the United States. And right now I'm in Philadelphia, where I was invited as one of the guest preachers at one of the churches here, the African First Baptist Church anniversary celebrating today. So I flew in here early Saturday morning, and I've been here since then. So I'm here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. So you're on a mission, but then you still made time to be here with us. That's gracious of you. Thank you. It's good to have you. I also mentioned that you are a member of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas. You want to briefly touch on that?
Yes. Member, not only just member, but I'm a signatory to the formation of AJA. So I'm a founding member of AJA. Yes, I'm a founding member of AJA. I remember when I fled Liberia following my kidnap and torture by the Taylor regime, security forces for attempting to investigate the politically motivated murder of Simon Doki and his family in the Banga area. And so I was threatened I was kidnapped and beaten and later on freed and charged with treason by the Taylor regime. And Samuel Kofi Woods and Tiawan Gonglo, they were the two attorneys or lawyers who freed me from the court, criminal code B, at the Justice Ministry, not the Justice, but the Temple of Justice area, where they had the court, and I was substantiated. So I substantiated all of the charges that were brought against me, stating that I was inciting the public against the Taylor government. So I went through a whole lot as a journalist in Liberia, and coming to the United States, we saw the need to have all retired journalists come together to help the media back home. So I'm a founding member of AJA, even though I don't trumpet a lot, but I'm a signatory. If you look at the information document, my name is there, along with Octavius Obe, Hassan Kewu, Kenny Best, Isaac Bantu, Gabriel Williams, William Burke, Bill Burke, Emmanuel Abalo, and the list just goes on. Xavier Henry, John Lloyd. We all got together and we founded AJA way back with the intention of helping journalists back home, promoting integrity in the media, and making sure that we provide all resources for the media and the professionals and those who are in need of equipment and whatever we could get here to help the media be a vibrant voice in our country. And so that was the true intention of AJA during the formation of that. And also we advocated for good governance as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Dr. Red. I appreciate that. Right now, you're still you actively engage with AJA, unlike some of the people that you name. So right now, just tell us what is your role right now with AJA.
Sure, my role is I'm the co-chairman of the Elections Commission. I work with Reverend Swadeta, who is the chair, along with the rest of the other team. We have been championing everything to have a free or transparent and accountable election in AJA, and we have been successful so far. I'm also a board member representing the Midwest chapter. I was recently appointed by members and leaders of the Midwest chapter to be a representative in the meantime because there was a void. No one was occupying that position, and the predecessor received an offer from home, Liberia, to work in the government. So there was a vacuum, and my colleagues reposed their confidence in me to occupy that position in an interim period until the next election, when it will be up for election. So I'm a current board member and also co-chair of the Elections Commission. And I also chair the awards committee where we award journalists in our country. And so that's what I do right now on AJA. And in addition to that, when we founded AJA, I was the secretary of the board of directors that served in that capacity until AJA fell off. We all fell off because of disagreement. And so I'm still active in AJA. I love my colleagues, and I love the idea upon which, or the concept upon which AJA was born. And I believe that we can be very good advocate for media transparency and also governmental transparency and accountability as well.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. I appreciate that. All right, so today, so audience, you've already, like, just a tip of the iceberg. Stick with us. You already heard Dr. Ray briefly. But he's here in his capacity as an author. I'm interested in as someone who likes to read in the books he has written. And the first one I want to talk about is something that in my how they call it, backyard or alley, because I'm someone who advocate for change and social reform. So Dr. Ray's book titled "Becoming an Agent of Change,"
Mhm.
in which we'll be talking, we'll be understanding, he highlights the importance of personal reflection and self-awareness are foundational for effective advocacy, empowering marginalized communities. So we'll be discussing how to amplify underrepresented voices to lead to systemic change and building allyship. He explored the role of collaboration across different sectors for justice and inclusivity and actionable strategies to address the practicality of the steps outlined for dismantling systemic barriers and on and on and on. I mean, we're just great insight. His work is insightful when it comes to creating change. So, Dr. Red, but I want to begin with you first. I was curious because as human being, we evolve. At one point in time, sometimes we have certain mindset, and that's the importance of growth, to
Mhm.
evolve. So I was curious because I know we've had an exchange a few years back, and then I was talking about there was an issue I was having with the then leader or president of Agile, and I was like, I think we're being selective in our advocacy. There was this widespread, there was this epidemic, I should say, of sexual violence, GBV, gender based violence.
Mhm.
We were not speaking on it, and then there was something else that came out that I don't want to mention. I remember it, but we spoke on it, and then you were like, so if she's talking about us engaging in gay rights, that's not what we do. We're Liberian. We got to stay away. We got to focus on, I know we're Christian, something like that, and stay away
Mhm.
from people, something. And then the leader at that time said, "Oh no, this is Priscilla. She's talking about this," and then you're like, "Yeah, but we need to stay in our lane." But now I see that you advocating for the same things that I was raising years back. So I was like, "Oh my God, what is going on?" So just give us a little background, your personal inspiration. What inspired you to write becoming an agent of change? And how do you embody those principles in your own life?
Well, those principles are all from the Bible. I strongly believe in the Bible is principles that set the trajectory of every life on earth. And I believe that those principles and values that I have espoused over the years inform me as a person or human to know where my sense of purpose and direction and determination should be. And in that manner, I find it expedient to express what I know and what I believe and the principles that I've learned. And so, in that way, becoming an agent of change is a book that gives readers the different dimensions of advocating for the marginalized, the voiceless, and I lay out a whole lot of ways and means in which one can become an advocate to affect change. Now, the chat you're talking about in our chat room, it was, I believe, speaking about sexual based violence in Liberia, and I was not actually saying that we cannot advocate for people who have been abused, victim, but I believe my response was mainly someone who are asking us to advocate for uh, not just the violence itself, but for the acceptance in our society about gay rights, and also the right for a man to get married to a man and a woman to get married to a woman. I do not oppose people who are victims of sexual abuse. I do not oppose that. I believe that we can advocate for that, but I think I was speaking from the perspective of is agile in agile's advocacy. We should be mindful because, in a sense, if we are mindful in advocating when it comes to sexual identity, if we find ourselves advocating that, it can lead to many other things because we have the religious right in our country, especially looking at our country where culturally it is not acceptable for you to find a family member who is a gay, you become an outcast. It's just how, like, when I was growing up in your family, if you smoke marijuana, people say you're crazy, they cast you down, or you trying to cast aspersion on the name of the family and all of that. So we have this mindset where we are now open like the Westerners, where if someone's a gay, they can accept them in the family. It took a long time, even in America, before it could become actually acceptable in certain communities and certain sector of the community or the country. And so I was speaking from the perspective of, if we are advocating as association of librarian journalists as a group, let us be mindful, because one thing can lead to another. Because if you advocate for sexual violence against women or men, or men, and it is a good thing for you to advocate for that, because you're looking for decency. You want for a society that is decent and respectful, and also respecting the dignity of each individual. But at the same time, that particular group, they may bring another facet of advocacy to say, okay, I'm gay. Why don't you advocate for me too? Then we are kind of getting into the faith-based clash with the religious or with the religious community. And so that's what I was looking at. But am I against a gay person as a human being? No, no. I have many friends who are gays, who are graduated from college, and some of them they became gay and all of that. But do they call me at times? We talk on the phone, of course, but it is our sexual orientation and it is our privacy, and there's nothing I can do about that. Okay, because my belief is different from them. So when it comes to advocacy, in the book that I wrote, Become an Agent of Change, that book is merely showing readers a roadmap. If you want to become an advocate, first examine yourself, self-reflection. What are some of the privileges and what are some of the opportunities that you have in your own strength of influence? And once you recognize that uniquely, then you pick your niche, because not every battle that you fight. Where are you strong at and have influence that you believe your ability or your capacity can work? Pick that particular niche, and then you go for it. Now, you cannot advocate in isolation. You need other people or organizations. And then I provide a roadmap about how you can connect with groups and your manner of approach and the things that you need to do, which are called elements, in order for you to be successful in building bridge with other organizations and groups, so that your point can come across, your ideas can come across, so they can help you in our fight. And on the organizational level, I also give ways and means, provided ways and means in which in our organization, if you see discrimination or people being marginalized for the racial identity, how can you how can you take certain steps in order to advocate for them? So those are things that I outline in the book.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is that no, what I was saying is, because as a founding member of AJA, it
Mm-hmm.
was there for a purpose.
Yeah.
Even though we respect the human right of every human being, whether gay or heterosexual person, but so that we don't lose focus
Mm-hmm.
and to make impact, we have a niche. So I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. That's what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hear.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You have
Yeah.
the niche. You see, the
Thank
thing is that I've been advocating Agile as a whole. If we all over the place, will not be effective.
Yeah, it makes
You
sense now.
see, will not
Yeah.
be effective. But
Okay.
if we can mount together our resources, both financial and both human relation with people, we should have influence over the legislature. We should have influence over the executive. We should have influence on the judicial system. You know why? Because as a group, we also got to learn the craft of advocacy and also the craft of lobbying. So, for example, in the United States, they have the Israeli lobbying group, right? Now, they are so powerful. They are so powerful until they have influence over all of the legislatures, even the presidency. And that's why you see the government in the United States supporting Israel to its teeth. Why? Because they got people on the ground okay, who focus on that and they have influence over the legislators. Now, if those legislators tend to hold back and they don't want to do anything, they have the purse. They can strain that purse. There are a lot of things, that they put, or guardrails that they put in place that are seen threatening to most of those legislators. And so for our job, we have to muster our effort to have influence in those branches of government. Our influence should be more mutual, and it should be more respectful, and it should be in a way where they see us as moral authority trying to do everything possible to create peace and give everybody opportunity, okay, to work in a capacity for the betterment of our country. So what I'm saying is that if we are retired journalists, if we focus mainly on the media and reduce corruption and making sure that they serve with integrity, we'll have a vibrant media. That, of course, will help the political system. And that has been my focus. I'm not saying that AJA or the leadership should not speak about political issues. You
No,
can do that. You can do that. But the focus mainly is supposed to be, what can we put in place? What kind of influence can we have on the media, to correct all of the wrongs that are going on? And that's what I've been saying mainly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense now. Yeah, yeah, I got it. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Because even like on noonday, I say that if you hear me say on noondays for social reform, but with emphasis on gender justice,
Mm-hmm.
that mean that order underrepresented groups are not being advocated for. A new day is about advocating that all of humanity is treated equally. So that doesn't mean. So sometimes I get, why you not advocating for men as well, or why you not advocating for instance, people with disability. We're doing that for people who are underrepresented, underserved. It just that the emphasis is this niche. So that's how it sounds like to me. Okay, so now that you have explained that, what are the most significant obstacles you think to dismantling systemic barriers, and how can individuals contribute effectively? And I think you just gave an example of the media, which I think is really great. Like, hey, if we can will our influence in this direction, I think we will make impact. So if I am not a media organization, I'm not agile, what are the most significant obstacles do you think to dismantling systemic barriers, and how can individuals contribute effectively?
Well, the mindset, it has to do with mindset. How do you dismantle the mindset of someone who is a racist and all along they have been trained to be a racist, thinking that a skin color is superior to any other person? Think
Mm,
that even though they do not know or have the intellectual capacity, but a person with a dark skin might have, but there's a power struggle. That person might have the opportunity to make more money and make more and have his presence felt. But you, because of your skin, you believe that you have superiority. Now, to
mm,
root that out and have a mind's change, it takes effort. Now, secondly, besides that kind of a mindset, that's a barrier. Secondly, think about your own barriers. What are some of the things that you believe that stopping you, from moving forward, making progress in your own life? It could be fear. Fear is a factor.
You
Fear.
mean who's trying to change the mindset of another person?
Yeah, yeah. We're talking about barriers, right?
Mm,
Barriers that can stand in the way of affecting change.
yeah.
Those are barriers. The mindset, one, two, this him or self, yourself, look within yourself in areas in which you see fear as a factor, um, preventing you from progressing on certain things. So, for example, I give an example of my sister who fear a whole lot. She can, she can write, she can do everything, but she has issue about connecting her brain and her finger. So she's not a good typist. So she calls me to help her type up most of her stuff. She's an educator, everything, but she didn't learn about typing. So I sent her a software, okay, where she can,
Practice.
learn typing, practice. But she just don't want to do it. She just don't want to do it.
Because
Secondly,
yeah, has not been dislodged up yet.
exactly. And because she just won't want to do it, she just feel that I'm not patient enough to do that. And secondly, she has a vehicle, but she can't drive because what the phobia of driving. Oh, I'm gonna crash. So somebody gotta drive for her. So people have barriers themselves to affect change. So looking at itself and examining ourselves, we will know areas in which we see barriers and some of the things that can prevent us from progressing in life. But those barriers can also be an opportunity, okay, to overcome them. We need encouragement from other people. We also read books because in life as a whole, if you are living, let's say, 100 years, you're not going to learn everything in this world, and that's why I read a lot. I read a lot from other people. You can learn from other people. Books. That's why people write books. There are some other people in other countries that I read their books and as research, but they don't necessarily have to be my face, right? But I learn from them, right? So making an effort yourself, or which I call self-education, is very, very vital in anything you want to do in order to affect change. And knowing your subject matter. Some people don't know that subject matter, but they tend to just talk about it, but they don't know the background. They don't know the background. So that could be a barrier too. Now, when it comes to systemic racism or systemic effort to starve certain part of the community, certain people of the community, like the marginalized,
Yes,
that
yes.
has to do with, yes, that has to do with how the system is structured. Now, when the system is structured in a way that wouldn't favor certain kind of people,
Mean something, sir.
exactly, that can be a barrier. And that's why I advocate that you, as an advocate, want to affect change, you gotta look at all of the barriers and see how you can connect with other people, because no one can be successful in isolation. You know, no man is an island, as the cliche says, right? So you advocating, you have to connect with other people who might see it differently and who might be able to give you direction as well. So, for example, if I want to write a book, right? The first thing, a book, it's too big for me to do that, you know. But the more you consult other people, they put you in the right direction. For me, I had to go to a whole seminar for almost a year to
Uh,
learn how to narrate, how to explain things, and all of that for people to understand. And as a theologian, from a biblical side, I study the Bible every day. I read the Bible every day. It was much easier for me to know how to break things down and explain to people how it relates to their life. But I have to look at my own barriers in a way. And once I study those barriers that will prevent me and I can do things to overcome them, of course, that's how you affect change gradually. So yourself have to experience a change before you can change someone else.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. You already responded. I was going to ask you for a personal experience or story that illustrates the power of allyship in creating change. So, but when you mentioned going to the seminar and thing, that just hit the nail. I think hopefully it send a message home. If you're listening to us, hopefully you're getting something out of this conversation. Um, if you're just joining us, this is a new day on Focus on Liberia. Let me just say a little about Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia was established in August as a 501c, August 2017, and our headquarters is in Atlanta, Georgia. It was conceived by Dennis Jai, or Liberian, to bridge a critical information gap among Liberians in the diaspora and at home, and to present a complete picture of Liberia on a global scene. So over the years, FOL has evolved into a prominent Liberian-based and operated media institution. From FOL inception was driven by the need to authentically represent Liberia's culture, history, and values catering to local and diaspora communities. Yes, FOL mission dedicated to becoming the most educational and informative media institution focused on Liberia. And this mission revolves around fostering knowledge and curiosity about Liberia because, according to the CEO, there was a time it was just like when you introduce yourself as a Liberian, all people relate, oh, you mean Yahali Silver, oh, you mean Charles Taylor. So, to go beyond that point, it was aiming to create a more enlightened and informed Liberian society that attracts global attention. So we believe in the power of the media to transform perceptions, strengthen democracy, and build a cohesive community. That's what we're doing here right now, facilitating conversation that hopefully will transform your perception, as Dr. Red talks about being an agent of change. Now we are seeking funding from donors, corporations, and foundations that share our vision. So please, people, I begging you. If you know of any, we're talking about allyship, so I'm just announcing it. We want to we want to build that. If there is any group or organization or foundation or supporter or donor that you know that align with FOL goals and mission, please recommend FOL or suggest them to us. Meanwhile, please support our programs, operations, and our initiatives like this kind of conversation we're having. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's continue. Let's continue on, Dr. Red. With your next book is called Stepping into Your True Self. Before we get to that, if you have a copy of the one we're talking about, some change agent, and I saw you had it, can you please show it?
Yes, okay. So that one, I think a pastor took that to become an agent of change. But I do have the one you just talked about, Stepping into Your True Self. This is a book, Stepping into Your True Self. This is a book that, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, this is a book. You want to ask a question, right, about this book?
No, 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 no. I want you to, yeah, tell us. I was going to share. You can find it at the end of the program. Talk about all of them and say you can find it on Amazon. But just let us know how much is that one.
This one is a paper copy. So on Amazon, it is 19.99, which is $20. You can get this. Amazon and Barnes and Noble online, bn.com. Those are the two places we have them. And the hard copy is $24.99. This is a soft copy. So, and we'll have the ebook too, so you can download it on your phone instantly for $9.99. Stepping into your true self.
Stepping into your true self.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. All right. So, stepping into your true self.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to the question I was going to ask. Uh, um, how does embracing how why did you write that? Maybe let's start with that
Sure. Well,
before yeah.
this book, Stepping to Your True Self, has to do with your self identity, who you are. Do you know yourself? And how
Mhm.
best can you talk about yourself? Do you really know yourself? You know, sometimes we say my mind is playing a trick on me, or my mind playing trick on me, or something like that. We always talk about our mind, but sometimes we think about ourselves in an inflated way. Um, but if we describe ourselves and we know ourselves, then we can know our purpose that we are here for. Because I believe we are all on earth here with a purpose and a mission, and we must be able to accomplish that mission in whatever way. But at times we veer away from that and tend to take other people's identity and tend to be like other people, you
Mm.
know, which of course is totally wrong, because it robs you of who you really are, your true self. So I got to discover that myself when I came to Christ, or when Christ saved me. Became, I was a journalist, used to like the media, but before that I was a DJ from high school, and I used to spin music. And from there, people say, oh, you talk fast, you can talk well, you can speak well. And then I went to broadcast journalism, and I started working at DC 101. I was interested in production, so I found I was very good at producing things. And so I had to work on my speech. In fact, I was one of the most least, what would I say, broadcasters in a way, because I used to admire other broadcasters, like Sylvia Henry, like Ahmed Pabai, Bobby Singh Harris,
But
uh,
yourself.
Carlos Smith Jr. I used to like that diction and everything. I said, how can I speak like that? But it took me a while to realize that Leche Hureni and all of them. So, but it took me a while to realize that I needed to find my own identity in a way that God had made me. And to do that, it is something that I evolved gradually into that, and knowing what I was good at doing and what I was not good at doing. Now, all of us, we are born with certain innate abilities, right? So there are
Mhm.
some people they become a rocket scientists, engineers, because they know how the designs, they know other things. And we got some other people with different talents, or gift. Now, my gift when I was growing up, I used to love the letters, okay? And so I know how to put words together. And so it was a gift that I discovered later on. And when I had an opportunity to come to the United States, I ended up at the University of Wisconsin in the College of Letters and Science. That's where I graduated from. So when I was in the Letter of Science College, my mindset was, okay, I'm now in a new environment. I'm going to be living in America for all the years, and I'm going to develop here, but I have to understand the environment. So I did journalism, okay, for my bachelor's program, which of course is known as communication arts, at a university. And then I did political science for my bachelor's. So I did a double bachelor's in political science and communication arts with emphasis on radio, television, and film. But and I was successful in the 4 years to graduate with a double bachelor's, because I found that niche, I found that area of my identity. And then after that, before I went on to do my master's program in counseling psychology at the same university, and when I graduated, then I started working with students at the Oakland Unified School District and Berkeley Unified School District. So I was a guidance counselor trying to provide social emotional academic counseling to high schoolers who are going to attend college. So I was like a bridge, counseling them emotionally, how to perform in the college environment, how to live, how to watch out for all the barriers and all of that, and also emotionally how to carry themselves, not to be carried away by all of the enticements from people, from friends, like drinking, drugs, and all of those things that will be somehow devastating for them. And so I served that role, teaching me emotional intelligence, social interactions, and also academic courses that I need to take in order to be successful in a career. So I did that. But then after that, myself making all the money and all of that, I still never felt content within. So I still needed to know my true identity before I came to ministry. So when I got to ministry, everything changed. Everything changed. And my study in seminary was all about theology. That is, you study the whole Bible, you break it down for others to understand. So it took me almost 5 years to complete that program. And when I got done, it was all about writing and writing. I said, but I can become an author. But I had to study almost a year in a web seminar for almost a year. And when I got everything to understand everything, then writing book was just easy for me. It was just easy for me. So this book, I also narrated in here how you can find your true identity for those of you who struggle with emotional pain and maybe just allowing your past to haunt you right now and you can move forward. So, for example, some people were born and someone kept telling them, you good for nothing, you will be nothing, you'll be a waste. And then they have that old tape still playing ahead.
Mm.
And that reverberates in that relationship that they have, whether marital relationship or dating or whatever, it can spill over in there
Mm.
because that self-esteem has been bruised. But how can you come out of that? And so this book is all about how can you work on yourself to discover your talents and gifts that you have been imbued with by God. How can you put it into use? And so I use myself as a template to see some of the roadmap or some of the obstacles along the way that was able to surpass based on God's help and where I find myself now. And so that is why a lot of women buy this book, because some of them want to understand, what it means. How do I know myself? How do I know who I am, and what am I put on this earth for? And this book outlines everything.
Yeah. Wow. When you say a lot of women, I think it's just because societal, and that's where we're going to get to. How do you deal with societal expectation?
Mhm.
Society have, especially, particularly on that particular gender of women, make them thought then that they exist for men. So yes,
Mhm.
at a later age stage in life, you realize no, this creation was for a purpose or outside of a man, other than being a wife or helpmate, quote unquote, according to the Bible people. So yeah, so now talking about self. So everything you just discussed, Dr. Ray, is just a wow to me. People, I need to I encourage us. I said I was going to save it for the end of this conversation
Okay.
to encourage us to talk to get a copy. But I'm already I think I should be just announcing it along the way. You need to get copies of these books.
Yeah.
You need to get copies of these books. These books, since the past few weeks, Dr. Ray sent me the link. I just went straight on Amazon for them. You need to get it, and they're just like a cup of coffee for the with a few bagels or cookies.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you can spend like $20 or $22 at Starbucks to get a cup of coffee and to get a donut, to get some kind of sweet something, get a copy of the book.
Yeah.
Yes, let's
Get a
build
copy.
ourselves. Let's invest in ourselves. Not even $100, not even $50, but 20
Yeah.
something.
$20. Yes.
Thank you,
Easy
Doctor.
read.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so um, what advice do you offer individuals struggling with societal expectations and self-doubt? Again, I think is that's why people are getting the book, but I just need you to put pepper there or uh, st- uh, make it take. What
Okay.
advice would you offer to individuals struggling with? Because you just share your personal, and that's part of being authentic. You have to just openly be vulnerable to share with the audience that, hey, I was accomplished at this level, yet I still didn't feel, that was so vulnerable and honest. What you just shared about yourself, your personal struggle. How do you advise other people, me, others, individuals struggling with societal expectations and self doubt?
Well, that's a very, very viable question, because we experience that in a society where they want you to be a certain way, and they forget to know that God made you uniquely. That's why our fingerprints are different. Your fingerprint is different. Everybody in the world. The reason why they want to do fingerprint is because everybody is unique. Everybody's fingerprint cannot be the same. And that is a uniqueness and a mystery that we don't understand how we're created in somehow. And if you are unique, you are unique. So
Hmm.
people are imbued with certain gifts and abilities and the way of life. Now, people can make choices. So society will expect you to do certain things. They expect this from you. For example, society will impose that, hey, every woman, should marry, and or every man should marry,
Hmm.
or society will say, um, every man should do this as a way to show your manhood. So, for example,
Or every
in
man should have children.
yes, every man should have children. But what if you marry a woman who, of course, your DNA or DNA cannot produce a child? Will you dismiss that relationship because of that, or because of the love that brought both of you together. And so people don't understand people's unique situations or conditions, but they tend to do that. For example, a pastor was preaching, and he said that all his congregation members, all members of the congregation, they should send their children to a Christian school, a private Christian school. Well, that's a good suggestion because of moral value. He said, oh, because the public school, they messed up and, a lot of stuff. Okay. But he was saying it like a command, like in the Bible, there's nowhere in the Bible that says everybody got to go to, a Christian school. There's no way to say that. But he was saying it in a way where you're commanding, like, people should do it. So why, if I'm a parent and I don't have the means to send my children or my child to a private school, and what I have is just little to take care of my house and my children and all of that, but the public school is there and they can go to the public school, what will you do? Will you give me money as a pastor for them to do that? No. So what I was saying is that there was an error in what he was saying. The concept is good, but you got to understand people's unique conditions or that situation. And so society will expect us to do a whole lot of things, but at the same time, whose voice do you listen to? Where do you take your moral direction from? What is the yardstick you use when it comes to measurement of right from wrong? And so for me personally, my right and wrong, I take those moral principles and values from the Bible that I read. Okay. And I see those who made mistakes, those imperfect people that God used, they had their own thing. For example, King David, a man after God's heart, he did a lot of stuff. He was a murderer. He was an adulterer. He did a lot of stuff, but with his imperfect state, and he knew his guilt, and he was able to confess his guilt and ask for forgiveness. I mean, he thrived well until he passed away. So it is an example of the human condition. Nobody's perfect. We are not perfect, but we strive every day to become better. And in our process is where we find our true identity, and because we know every day things that we see, things that we comprehend or understand, and things that we do, sometimes they can be tinted with our own biases, So why should we impose our biases on other people? But the way that we can fend out off from societal expectations is to look at your own unique situation. Okay, I'm created, and I'm a human being, and these are my flaws that I know within myself, and these are my strengths that I know within myself. How can I get away from the weakness to strengthen more on the areas that I know that if I put my whole focus and attention, that I will become a better person, should be the focus, and I just pay attention to society expectations. And that's why the book here outlined a whole lot in here, how to fend off those pressure from society.
Fend off pressure.
And look at your own unique identity and then go by that. So for example, when you want to do a program, your program is unique in a sense because you sat and you conceive it and you put it to paper and you see your format and you have the fire in you to do it. So your program is unique and it's different from other programs. It's the same way too. What makes you different from other people is it has to do with the things that you do and how you interact with them. People can judge you easily and want to deal with you based on your interpersonal interactions with them, And we are human beings. I know the cell phone is there. We're on the cell phone every time, but it doesn't tell the whole story of actually meeting somebody, because we are humans. We sense people, we see them, we smell them, we look at our eyes, we look at our mouth, how to speak and how to look. And body language cannot lie. You can lie everything on the phone or on the internet, but your body language and seeing that person with the body language can tell a whole different story, and that's just how it is. So all along, societal pressure should be well evaluated by you, the person, and see how that fit with you or whether it doesn't fit with you, and make your choices or decisions based on what is unique in your own strength and ability.
Yeah.
Yes.
thank you, Dr. Ray. If you're just joining us, my Jody, let's say good morning. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining us. What? Okay, so the next book is we talked briefly about a change agent, and then we talked about stepping in your own. The next one is do you have that with you, cultivating um
Yes,
Liberia's national pride?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
so that
Cultivated
one
Liberian.
discuss that, yeah, the lesson from that one discussed Liberia's struggle for okay, so he's already here, so he will tell us a little bit about that. I will share my own stuff, but tell us a little bit about that one.
Okay, so this book is about sharing stories that inspire people. Our country, we have strong people. Country strong in a sense where no matter what happened with all of the civil war, the Ebola, the COVID-19, we have people of resilience,
Hmm.
and that resilience also encompasses our diversity in our language and our identities, our collective identities. So putting all of that together, okay, collectively, putting them together, we are unique. But then, what is stopping our progress as a
Dr. Ray,
country?
how much is that? How much is the book?
Oh, this the soft copy is 19.99, which is $20 for this. You can find that if you want a hardcover, it is also there, which is 24.99 with a $25 for the hard copy. This one is 19.99, $20, or you can get an e-version. It's 9.99. You can download it on your phone. Just read from there. This one. So this book is, if we are people with all that we've been through and we still survive, even though our family members, some of them, pass away and all of that, but we're still offspring and we are still standing as a nation. How can we shape all our identities, our talents, gifts, and abilities together to rebuild our country? Rebuilding our country, yeah, we want road infrastructure, we want the road network to be great all through the whole country. We want all the other basic necessities like water, electricity, the healthcare system, educational system for all to function. Yes, it will function and all of that. But looking beyond that is our hearts, right? Our hearts. How can we now put aside the bitterness and reconcile and come together and have one nation based on the strength of our diversity? That is the question that I answer in here. And it has to do with cultivating, which means developing our national pride. What
Mhm.
makes you a Liberian? What makes you different from a Ghanaian or a Nigerian or Gambian or Somalian? What makes you different? We have unique identity as a country. But how do we discover those identities and how do we bring our diversity together for strength? And how do we allow ourselves to be prime examples for the young people? For example, our country is fighting corruption from since since there was a military coup that took out the Tobo administration, and the primary reason was rampant corruption. I remember saying that. I remember hearing that. I remember hearing that rampant corruption. They are too corrupt. But then later on, we see corruption got to a place where it became, or now has become a decay in our country. But how can we now kind of redevelop our mindset in a way to be an example, prime example for the young people? So this book addresses how you can love your country more and how you can do something individually as a person. What can you do to contribute to the country and then set an example for others to follow, especially the young generation? That's what the book is about. And I provided ways and means in which we all can do that. It is a book that has the chapters here all together. We have in this book we have um, about 8 chapters. No, 10, let's see here, 12 chapters. And in these 12 chapters, each chapter outline ways and means in which we can rebuild our country, and you can help as an individual in every way, step by step, in order for our country to become vibrant.
Okay. So just in case somebody doesn't get it, which
Mhm,
I don't, I hope that's not what I'm aiming for. And people don't take this as me just selling books, because people
mhm,
buy these books. Dr. Ray is right now at an event. Like if you heard him, the first book I'm asking about, he said somebody took it. I went to Dr. Ray's book launch. Was it?
in
Yeah,
Minneapolis.
thank you, Dr. Ray. Um, I'm just saying something real quick. I went to Dr. Ray's book launch um in Minnesota last year. And I was in a line in a queue when the book ran out. And I could the box were empty by the time I got there. So I'm saying that people do buy these books. So this is not just selling of books. Like he didn't come here just to sell books. These books are on Amazon. People buy them because they are impactful. They are insightful. His work is insightful.
Mhm,
But I just want to encourage us, just for yourself. If we're talking about being better, we go to school, which are institutions to maybe become better, to get a better job, but
mhm,
also for personal and self development. This kind of work are so uh, um yeah, call for that. So I encourage you to just get a copy of these books. Again, it's not just about selling them to you. Nobody here is. We're doing that in the process that we're telling you because you have to buy them. But it's a passion for me. It's me just encouraging you. Get a copy for yourself. Get a copy of these books for yourself and just see what this man is talking about. We don't have the time to go from page to page in these books.
mhm, mhm.
Dr. Red, I'm going to just ask you quick for someone who may not be able to get it. Again, I hope they will. But the point I was making, just in case someone is not able to get it, especially for our leaders, you recount Liberia's struggle for freedom. What are the most important lessons current leaders should draw from this history?
Well, the what you should draw is first, if they have learned our history, let it allow that history to inform their present. Because if you don't understand your history, or if you understand it and ignore its significance, you cannot do better for the present and the future. That's one. And in order for you to instill freedom that we all yearn for, is to first of all know yourself uniquely with self-awareness. Self-awareness is very important. Self-reflection is very important. Setting boundaries and also seeking support in our diversity. All those are all factors that are outlined for every Liberian to now come to the reality that it is not totally about government. It's about the self, and how can you pretty much prepare yourself and become a better person and also contribute that to a better society. And so if we do that as people trying to search for freedom, because our country was founded on the basis of freedom. Those people, they were looking for freedom. They wanted somewhere where they could live for the rest of their life and have freedom, right, and flourish. So, and that freedom we've been looking for all along, and we're not free up to now. Okay, but I have another story to tell, and that story has to do with the common people. The common people, they look for freedom in the not just in the urban area like the cities, but what about, like, for example, Grand G there, far away from you. What about Sumner County? What are those counties, people in those counties? What are they doing every day to help make that county better? And so it is inspiring to learn from this book about ways and means in which you can be an inspiration, you can be a contributor, you can be an advocate, and how you can be proud of your country and also proud of the work that you've done to make it better.
Okay, quickly, I know what you mean when you say well, up to now we're not free, but just for non-Liberian before they take it literally meaning that we're not free. What do you mean we're not free? Up to now we're not free.
Yeah, we're not free because there's still turmoil going on. There's a deadlock in the national legislature right now on the speakership. That's not freedom. That is stagnation.
Change of mindset, right?
Mindset. Because in the mind, when the mind is not free and the mind is not imbued or characterized by love for one another,
Mm.
then it turns to the inward selfishness, self-centeredness, greediness, or being greedy. And that's why we hear about bribes here and there, because people are still looking for something beyond that means, right? And they
Mm.
want that in order for them to see themselves, because if they believe that when they have a lot of material possessions, including money,
Mm.
they will give them freedom. But that does not bring total freedom of the person. Total freedom comes when you actually allow yourself to be selfless in advocating and helping people. Okay,
Mm.
representatives are in the house, they are there representing the people, their constituents. What are they doing to bring good road network to that county? What are they doing to have the supply chain of products and produce, go through the road network for people to sell? What are some of the mechanisms that they put in place? So people, we all look for freedom in many ways.
Yeah.
And our freedom is been stagnated because people are not free in our mind. They feel that somebody is looking out to get them every time. The enemy is out there. That's why you see the deadlock in the legislature. Our judicial system is fragile in a sense that it is not efficient enough to avenge justice for those who don't have money. Those who don't have, so that is a stagnation of freedom right there. Look at the country as a whole. Africa's oldest independent country, right? Africa's oldest independent country. Look at our road network. Look at our water system. Look at our electric system. Look at Ghana that came up later on. Look at other countries that got our independence from the colonies in the late 60s. Look at Ivory Coast next door. You see the roads, you see the electricity all over. What about Liberia? Because we are so trapped in a mentality that has not given us the impetus for freedom. So freedom, for me, it is all about all of the factors that I just talked about.
Okay.
Because people are there that are not allowing people the opportunity, economic opportunity, women giving them the opportunity to flourish. When they're educated, they need to have access, to jobs. They don't have to subject them to certain men or certain people or bosses who want to take advantage of them before they get in a position. We need to get rid of all of those things, harassment, all those stuff. So when we talk about freedom, it encompasses a whole lot of growth factors that I just talked about.
Okay. All right. So then, Dr. Ray, what's about when it comes to youth?
Mhm.
Uh, what role do you see for Liberia's younger generation in cultivating national pride and unity?
Yeah, I see the prominent role for the young people, because we all grow up, we want to learn, and once we have the resources, we'll flourish in every way. Um, So let it be educational opportunity. Let it be good health care for them to flourish in an environment where when they are sick or anything wrong with them, they can be treated. Let us have a good educational system, because the good educational system can enable them to know their future, their purpose. If they want to be a politician, they have to speak well. They have to know about a lot of other factors that are affecting the country. How do you provide an opportunity for them to do that? We need a good education system. So the youth will play a very essential role, but they need preparation right now. And the examples that our leaders setting for them is a bad example relating to corruption, relating to stagnation of government moving forward, and the way that they conduct themselves. You can see representative cussing, using abusive language. That's a way that he or she can communicate. Is it good for the young people? That's not good. So the young people, yes, we know will pass away. We all can live over 100 these days, but how will you prepare the way for those young people? So yeah, I see the younger generation coming up, not just education only in the classroom alone, but our parents too will have a role. How can they bring them up morally to know what is right and what is wrong? All of those are all factors or values that can attribute to that well-being for the future.
Okay. All right. So as we wind down, I have two more questions. This one is for global relevance. How can the lessons in your books be applied beyond Liberia to inspire global advocacy and transformation? If is it possible? Are there lessons in your books that can be applied beyond Liberia to inspire global advocacy and transformation? If
Yes,
yes, okay.
of
If
course.
yes, how can the lessons in your books be applied beyond Liberia to inspire global advocacy and transformation?
Yes, for example, every human being we have a vision, right? And
Mhm.
how can you make that vision or dream become a reality? That is a universal principle. Start with self-awareness, self-identity. And as a person, if you have a vision or dream to become somebody or to do something, self-awareness is important. That is applicable universally.
Yeah.
Um, if you want to achieve anything in life, it takes, for example, integrity biblically. God does not expect every one of us to do everything perfectly, in a sense, because we are imperfect people, but we can live with integrity. Integrity is simply means that it's not about perfection, but I must be a reliable person. I'm gonna be a person of my word. I'm a practice honesty, truthfulness. All of those are all virtues that
Mm.
can lay the groundwork for interpersonal action across everywhere you go in the world. It is acceptable anywhere. So all that I've been writing, both in the full Christian literature and the two books of Liberia, is about preaching about virtues. How do we love one another, and how do we enact that in our ways or in our interaction with people? How do we get along with people? There are certain people that you not get along with them, but how can you have a mindset of compassion? How can I reach out to the person? Even small act of kindness. And how can I work with this person in a way that we can affect change? And they are all universal purpose, but it starts with you. And that's what Gandhi said this. He said that in order to affect change, change must begin with who? With you. And so it has to do with the empowerment of yourself, self-education. And once you prepare yourself better, you can see the world in a whole different way. So all my entire book is all about all the confusion that we find in the world today. They all derive from lack of love, lack of trust, lack of vision, lack of dream, and lack of self-awareness. Because if I have a position and I become so greedy, right? And they
Mm.
give me a budget, and I take out the budget, and I sort of pay other people who are on the payroll, but I put names there that are ghost names, right? What
Mhm.
am I doing? Am I being self-aware of the
Yeah.
other people that I have to work, or am I there to pretty much honor my progress? So self-awareness is very important, and how you can attribute that to other people in your interaction and even systemic structure as a whole.
All right. Okay, thank you. Before I ask the last question, let me just remind the audience again. So I'll read your statement. I'll read your comments. Let me just remind the audience, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Dr. Alexander L. Red. He introduced himself at the beginning. I will above there when we're done with here. Um, but yeah, so he's the author of several books, including Becoming an Inhistory Liberian, as you can hear. Uh, so one of the books we talked about before you join us, if you're just joining us, is Becoming an Agent of Change, and you can get on Amazon for $29. The hardcover, for me, that's the hardcover I took. That's what I prefer. But you can get it on Kindle as well, unlimited. I think it's unlimited. The paperback you can get it for $24. The title of the book is Becoming an Agent of Change. Becoming an Agent of Change by Dr. Alexander Red. And then the other book we talked about, it wasn't the second, but the other book we talked about was Cultivating Liberia's National Pride, For hard copy, you can get it for $29. For paperback, you can get it for $24. He also wrote Liberia Search for Freedom, Uniting a Nation Guided by Faith, which we wouldn't have time to go into, but please check it out. The hard copy is for $24.99. The paperback is $19. These are prices for coffee. These are just prices for something like this, and then you get your donuts. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Red. I don't want to get up now to go be getting my books. But
Mhm.
I'm glad that you brought them. So that's it. Liberia Search for Freedom, Uniting a Nation Guided by Faith. And it's just $24, or paperback is 19. My favorite, I hate to be to play favoritism. Is stepping into your true self. Stepping into your true self really spoke to me. It is just $24 for hard copy. Paperback is 19. I love stepping into your true self because I like to be authentic. I try to be, at least I try to be.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, check out Stepping into Your True Self. It's $24 hard copy. Paperback is $19. And then my other favorite is Becoming an Agent of Change, because I am an agent of change. That's what I do advocacy about. That's what our new day is about. So uh, but yeah, but you can buy the books that talk about Liberia if you want. I'm just telling you what my favorites are. Stepping into your own, into your true self,
Yeah.
and Becoming an Agent of Change. And then maybe the one that would have been my least favorite, but just because Dr. Ray looks so handsome on the cover, never be like your enemy. Man, the man looks so good.
Thank you.
My God, look at him. So yeah, people just get copies of Dr. Red's book. $19 for the paperback. The hard copy is 24. And then the other one, Daily Living in God's Peace. Of course, he already told us he's a pastor, and then he runs an entire ministry. And yeah, sometimes when I talk to people, they be like, yeah, I'm subscribed to Dr. Red's ministry and I listen to him in the morning, or I used to listen to him. I need to catch up with him again. Yeah, that is it. That is it. That is it. That is it. Now, Dr. Red, tell us again, what is the name of your ministry? Grace.
Gracious Hope Bible Fellowship. We have an app. You can download the app in the App Store. Go in the App Store, type in Gracious Hope Bible Fellowship. The app will come up. And then once you get the app, you'll have all the resources. We offer audio Bible. We also offer sermons, teaching series, daily devotion, both the audio and the video. And also we have written devotions as well. And you can also take free Bible courses through the Dallas Theological Seminary. It's all free. You go to Connect, you click the down loader menu, and you click on Dallas Theological Center, Dallas Theological College, and now you'll be able to take some free courses. You don't have to pay anything, but that will help enrich your spiritual life as well. But it is an app you can get, or you can just go to the website gracioushopefellowship.com, gracioushopefellowship.com, and you will have all of the features there to access all of our biblical resources that are available. And I'm also a pastor of a local church, Christian Restoration Church as well.
Oh my God. Thank you, Dr. Ray. The church members, if they're watching, they may not be like, who is that lady flirting with our pastor? Your pastor is good looking, okay? So don't don't blame me, yeah. But I see. All right. Okay, Dr. Ray. So the last question I have, I wanted to read, let me just read this quickly and then I'll ask you the last question to let you go. Majority say we need to start holding our leaders accountable. If you cannot show what you've done for the area or district you're representing, you need to go. I think he or she was responding to when you were talking about leaders should set examples. Um,
Oh yeah, well, I mean that's true. The vote is the vote is a power in the hand of the people. They elect. If someone is not serving your district as they should or as they promise, you have the choice to make at the voting ballot of vote to vote them in and vote them out. So that's true. Yeah,
yeah,
leaders need to be hold accountable. They need to be held accountable.
yeah,
Leaders need to be held accountable.
yeah. I think that's when you were talking about the legislature
Mhm.
stand still. Yeah. Okay. So my last question is for hope for Liberia, because I know with everything that is happening, you are you are a person of the Bible, of the word. You teach that, so you teach hope as well. With
Mhm.
everything that's happened, that seem gloomy. We seem not to have achieved freedom, even though that it was due to the quest for freedom. That those that left the U.S. and those that were on the ground were able to work together to form Liberia. And you already talk us through what's some of what is happening. Still, I think you know that we still should have hope. So, what gives you the greatest hope for Liberia's future, and how do you envision your books contributing to that? Did you
Yeah.
understand the question, or do you want me to repeat it?
No, no, I understood the question. The thing is, first of all, we have the burgeoning youth population. Liberia right now, if you do a survey, or if you look at the country right now, the young people are increasing in number, and they are the future of our country. But in order for us to look at Liberia's future, we must first of all have hope. We cannot be pessimistic in any way. We must be optimistic. We must be hopeful in everything. But then for the younger generation that will take over this country to make it more vibrant for everyone, where we have decent wages, we have all of the road network and infrastructure, a better one in the 21st century to serve the people. We must have vision. And in the last page of my book, this book, it is very important. I says here is a vision for a united Liberia that I wrote here. This vision emphasizes the potential of a collective commitment to national pride, unity, and progress in shaping a positive future for our country. Now, to understand the essence of this vision, we must first acknowledge the importance of national pride, which means how best can I love my country? If I love myself, how can I express that I also that my environment, starting from the home, the community, and the society, to be better? Then I said, Liberia is a land rich in culture, history, and diversity. From the majestic forest to the vibrant music and dance traditions, our nation is filled with treasures at the core of our identity. Therefore, national pride is not solely or is not merely a superficial sentiment, but a deep rooted sense of belonging and appreciation for the uniqueness of our homeland. And if we appreciate our country, which I know a lot of Liberians do, those who live in the diaspora, we all yearn to go back home because that's where our birthplace is. Our neighbor was buried there, right? And so
Mhm.
we want to go back home, but we want a very good environment. But then, are we willing to put in the work? Some of us doing that. Talk a lot about Liberia and how Liberia can be viable. You bring people who have different concepts or ideas to make our country better. So you contributed to the process. I am contributing to the process through writing books, through podcasts, the same way people are doing it. And there are people on the ground who might do better. So I still have hope for Liberia. And I believe the young people, young leaders will come up, those who have tasted the uh, the uh, the well-being of other countries like the United States, Europe. They will go back to that country and do what they need to do to bring up Liberia. Somebody will be raised by God to bring that country together, and I have that hope.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. If there's anything else that I didn't ask you that you want to, can you please share? Especially, um, don't then just remind us again about what you do. Your ministry, authorship. If you can just end by just running us through that again. But if there is anything else that I didn't mention that you want to, as we wind down.
Yeah, yeah, it's for those who came in late on the program. Once again, I'm Alexander L. Red. I'm a Liberian. I hail from Grand Bassa County. I can still speak on Bassa. because my parents were here before they, passed away. We still spoke. We spoke our native tongue, and from the Bassa tribe. I grew up in Morovia. I was born in Tuba Old Road, and later on lived um, in Gardnersville area. Also, all my Gardnersville people, I know we have an association. I will join you guys next year to celebrate. And yeah, and as a Liberian, I came to the United States. I came here, I fled the country because I was a journalist who was pursuing an investigative story on a politician who was murdered, Samuel Doki and his family. And the government didn't like that, and they kidnapped and tortured me physically. It brought a lot of emotional and trauma toll on me, but I came to the United States and I was able to surpass that, overcome that through the help of many other people that helped me along the way, that God brought in my way. I was able to get a scholarship, the Martin Luther King Scholarship, and went to school at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, where I did my double bachelor's in communication arts and political science. And then I did my master's of science in counseling psychology, focusing on education and mental health. And later on, work for the Oakland School District, Oakland Unified School District in California for a number of years. And the Lord called me to ministry after my parents passed away. And I went to seminary sponsored by the church, a local church. And I was able to graduate for my doctoral program in systematic theology and apologetics. And so I can defend the Christian faith very, very well. The Bible is where I go every day. And and through that, I was able to write all of these books. But I give credit to the Almighty God for his wisdom. And I believe that all my experiences put together and being an author is a humble experience for me. It doesn't make me to be above anybody, but I'm a very common person to talk to. If you go to the website, Gracious Hope Bible Fellowship, you'll see the phone number you can call, and I'll be able to talk to you. If you are interested in my books, please go to Amazon.com. Just write in my name in the Amazon search, Alexander L. Red, and will come up right there. And all my books will come out, 6 books. And I have my 7th book coming up on December 18th. It's called Harmony of the Apostles' Teachings, Unraveling Misconceptions. So that book will be coming on December 18th. That'll be my 7th book. That book is all about bringing the apostles writing together into harmony and then debunking all of the misconceptions or misunderstanding that people have about it. And so it was nice having you in your homes and wherever you are. And thank you so much for your attention and consideration for everything we've discussed about my work, my life. And I'm so privileged to be a guest on Focus on Africa with this special guest and the vice president of the Association of Liberian Journalists in Americas, AJA, um, Janet. Thank you so much.
Okay. It's actually focus. I know you meant to say focus on Liberia.
Because I saw
So,
it on the screen, that's why. I saw it in
so
the screen.
I just shared the web the page, the book page. I just share it. Just click on it. It's right now in the comments. Click on it and grab one of these books. And believe me, you again, even though all of the books are great work, I personally should not be personal, so I wouldn't. I try not to start with becoming an agent of change. Yeah, I can help myself. Start start with that, and then you see, and then true self. Stepping your true self, and all the other books. The books are all great. But yeah, it was good having you, Dr. Red. It was good having you on. I appreciate your time. And so, yeah, folks, this is it. We've come to the end of this conversation. Dr. Ray is also a founding member of AJA. He shared that. Please watch at the beginning if you came on late. He's a leading voice in our community. He's a change maker. He's inspiring. a lot of us, because again, I speak with people. The community is not really big, or to some extent, you talk to this other person and her name comes up. People are like, "Yeah, I follow Dr. Red's ministry, and I follow his teaching." So just go to his website, get yourself acquainted with his work. Um, that's him, Dr. Alex Red, on a new day today on Focus on Liberia. If you're not so much aware what a new day is, our ultimate goal is to contribute to the creation of a society where everyone, regardless of their gender identity or socioeconomic status, uh, but particularly for underserved population, can live with dignity, equality, and freedom from discrimination. We're trying to address systemic barriers by promoting inclusivity and amplifying diverse voices. So, a new day aims to bring about lasting social change and inspire a future where all individuals are treated fairly, respectfully, and compassionately. That's why we have these kind of conversations. That's why we invite people like these to talk to us, because our hope is that this kind of conversation will contribute to a change in our mindset and attitude about our
Mhm.
about our communities, about our world, about the human rights and dignity of underserved, underprivileged people, particularly women and girls, and lead to a shift in our culture of impunity. Hence, a new day on Focus on Liberia. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you on the next episode. Thank you, Dr. Ray, for joining
Thank
us.
you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Take care now.
Mhm.
It's a new day. It's a new day, everyone. It's a new day. I'll catch you next week. Take care. Bye.
We are Labira. Labira is our home. Labira people. Ile yurete awiwa. Labira oh. Ile yurete awiwa. Labira mi labira. Awala.